God-driven, the two masters. This book does not exist to vilify the Lord or to dismiss the builders of this world. The Lord has his place. God has his. That distinction, not condemnation of either, is the whole of what follows. Walk the megalithic terraces of Peru, or trace a hand along a temple pillar on the banks of the Nile, and you read the same signature, the frozen psychology of men driven to build, to mark territory, to leave something standing after they were gone. Whatever verdict history renders on how they built, the fact that they built and that the record survived deserves study, not scorn. The aircraft that crosses an ocean in half a day, the road, the port, the database that answers a question in a second, these are not accidents. They are the fruit of driven men operating in the spirit of the Lord of the field, administrators, engineers, empire builders. To refuse them credit is to refuse the ground you stand on. But to worship only that, to forget the wild, ungoverned source beneath it, is to mistake the machine for the maker. This is the confusion this book was written to end. The habit of blaming, praising, or worshiping God for what the text plainly assigns to the Lord, and vice versa. Genesis draws this line early and often. God makes the wild beast of the earth. Genesis 1:25. The Lord forms the beast of the field. Genesis 2:19. God creates male and female together in the same breath as one act. Genesis 1:27. The Lord administers closing wombs in Gerar, sending plagues on a house, forming a man of dust and setting him to labor. One is source, the other is manager. Scripture keeps them separate. Readers have not. Once that distinction is in hand, the rest of the ledger opens up. Why Cain's offering was rejected on economic grounds rather than moral ones. Why Nimrod built empires before the Lord ever came down to look. Why the men who crossed oceans centuries later, driven by faith, star maps, and ambition, were walking a path already worn into Scripture by travelers before them. None of the men who carry this narrative are offered as moral models. Some were ruthless. Some were flawed administrators chasing their own interest. What sets them apart and what this book asks you to notice is simpler than virtue. They walked in faith. That is the only qualification that matters here. Not sainthood, not villainy, drive. Epilogue, the choice of ledger. You now hold both ledgers open. One is the realm of Elohim, the natural source, the cosmic engine, biology, genetics, the law that male and female create together at the beginning of every kingdom, plant, animal, and human alike. The other is the realm of the lords, the built matrix, the infrastructure, the architecture, the contract, the interest, the border. Both are real. Both have shaped the inheritance you were born into. The error this book set out to correct was never about picking a side. It was about learning to tell. In any given verse, in any given moment of history, in any given argument online, which ledger is actually in front of you. So you stop crediting the manager for what the source gave freely, and stop blaming the source for what the manager restricted. That is the whole of the audit. Not which entity to worship, and not which men to condemn, but which hand did which work, so that you can finally see your own with clarity. The men in these pages were not good or bad by the measure this book cares about. They were driven. The invitation, now that the ledger is untangled, is the same one it always was: to walk in faith toward a destination you have chosen, using both what God has made and what the Lords have built without confusing the two and without owing either your ignorance. For more context, subscribe at tropicvita.com to access my exclusive content or leave a comment or contact me to schedule a complimentary conference. Thanks for listening to another Sovereign Professor production by Rondale L. Jordan. Peace.